All right. I can't guarantee how this is going to go without the boy.
I can't guarantee it either because
Yeah.
he's my support system. He's my rock.
But we got to get used to doing things without him.
It's really hard to think about.
Yeah, let's not think about it.
I've already made my teas too spicy.
Let's not think about it. Welcome back to Talking Story. My name is John Mitten. We are joined here today with...
Ahab.
No, you're just like the kid.
Yes.
My amazing, lovely wife, Amy. And it's time for Book Club with the Missus.
Already?
Book Club with the Missus. This is kind of gonna be a once a month thing, I think. I hope.
That would be nice.
That would be awesome, right? So this month,
your people are so kind to have tolerated me so far.
This community is the absolute best.
It is the absolute best.
And before we get going too much longer, we should point out some of them. These humans in the community right here, these are the absolute best. They help us do everything here. They keep the lights on, they keep the power going, they keep us going. They make decisions, because let's face it, you know, I shouldn't.
No.
And they vote for the Patreon read all the way up to getting their content on this channel, taking over the channel once a month. If this interests you at all, you'd like to do that, check right down there in the description box on the Patreon link, and you can find out all about it. So, this month's choice was...
Annihilation.
Annihilation. By Jeff Vandermeer.
It's so fun to say.
Yes, Vandermeer.
Jeff Vandermeer.
It's like Vindaloo.
It's a deep cut.
Yep. So, what did you think? So you had read this before me.
Yes.
And then you said I heard about it. So we went ahead and, you know what, let's just make it the book club choice.
Why not? Because you have a lot to read.
I do.
And it is a slim volume.
But they pack a lot.
Packs a lot.
Packs a lot.
I believe somebody said this was so many pages. Oh, what is this? 195 pages long, but 600 pages deep.
I would go with that.
Yes.
Whoever said that's right on.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I would totally go with that.
There's a lot going on.
Do you want to break this down like my regular 5 categories?
Please
to
do.
discuss? You want to get into spoilers, or you want to try and stay vague? How do you want to work this?
I think it's better if we can avoid them. I think we can.
I think we can.
We'll do our best.
We'll do our absolute best.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with world building.
Oh, we're going to start there.
That's where I usually start.
Okay.
Let's set the stage.
I have a lot to say about that.
For the
That's
players,
a lot of
for the
world
players
building to go.
strut across.
Sure.
I mean, it's our world.
It is our world,
But it's
slightly different.
Slightly different. This is there's an area of our world that is changing, transitioning quickly, and I thought he did an amazing job at making this.
Well, more to the point, and this is a trilogy, so we're not going to go where we might know or we might think, and we also know...
You've read the whole trilogy.
No, I've read 2 of them.
Okay.
So I know a little bit more than what I'll even say.
Okay.
All there is to know is that there is an area off the east coast of the United States that has a boundary, and that is inside it is changing.
Right.
Now, that is a vague construct at first. But what we have going on here, though, is like, since it is the coast of the United States, we're talking about some wildland, some marshland.
Right.
There's, some former inhabitants.
Right. So when we say changing, flora and fauna all the way up to...
We're talking about an evolutionary introduction of something.
Acceleration.
Yes,
yeah.
Acceleration or merging or something is going haywire.
Right.
There is a boundary, and that boundary is controlled by a nefarious organization called the Southern Reach.
Right.
Which lends its name to the trilogy.
Right. And they send teams in.
And they send teams in, like explorers, if you will, to and they are called by their scientific names, the biologists.
So we're going deeper into plot. Let's try and stick with how he did with...
Why we need a linguist?
That's more with character and plot. Let's stick with what he did with world building.
But what we're going on with the world is like we're sending in almost like these astronauts in there to report back. They're to write in their journals, and this book is a journal of one of the participants.
Right. So it's kind of epistolary. It doesn't read that way, but it is, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
world building, we've got what I would call the uncanny. It's a great example of the uncanny.
It really is.
That would be the, I hope I'm defining this correctly, but say you like have a human face, and you have you take just half of that face and you duplicated it and flipped
Exactly,
it over.
yeah.
Exactly. Now our faces are not perfectly
Right.
symmetrical, so if you did that and maybe like showed a picture of that to someone, they would be like, something's wrong with that, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's that feeling inside
Right.
as a human that says something's wrong, no.
Right.
And that's, as a writer, that's a golden place, and it's hard to teach, and it's
Really?
hard
It's
to
hard
get
to
at.
do, right?
It's hard to do
Yeah.
if you don't have guides like Jeff Vandermeer
Yeah.
to tell you like how to do it.
Right.
And just right off the bat, our expeditionary team is charged by a boar who has a presence.
Right.
It's just something like
Even the
that's-
wildlife has a different
something's
presence than
wrong,
what you would
something's
expect.
wrong. Is it sentience? Is it whatever?
Right.
No, they don't know.
Right.
They don't know. So everything about this place is, yes, our planet, but not. Something
Right.
has changed. It is not
So atmospheric
certain.
off the chart.
atmospheric. Yeah.
Yeah. Uncanny, atmospheric. The weird is brought about. It makes you uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah. He does a
Like
great
you should-
job.
Like I should know this, but I don't.
Right. It's my planet, and yet it's astronauts was a great way to say it. It seems like I'm definitely somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it like danger around every corner? You don't know what's. I guess Willy Wonka is another great way to do. It's like you
Sure.
don't know. It's like you're on planet Earth, but no, you just.
That's a
you just-
great analogy
you just
because
stepped
it's like
inside
it's
something different.
It's like a wonderland.
It could kill you.
It's like a wonderland
Yeah.
because it's like a fresh
But
new.
it's natural, and it's
Right.
you know like I mean, what do they call this? Eco horror, some-
Eco horror. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna kick myself for that.
Yeah, I have.
Eco
I don't
something,
know.
but
Yeah.
yes, it has very much to do with nature turning on the characters and danger at every turn.
Yeah, and I think he did a great job. I would say it's off the chart.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, for the amount of pages for him to put, he basically absolutely placed me there.
Yeah.
Like I was there, I was uncomfortable. It felt like there was danger around every corner. It was my world, and yet I was like an explorer somewhere that no human had ever set foot.
Right, and I think if you are a writer and you do want to take a look at the uncanny and how to really delve into that, he sets up some good formulas to follow, even though there is a definite art to it. But there's it's an expression too, like a person will express. That's not right.
Yeah.
That actually escapes their lips. That ain't right.
That's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right. So
know
did
it.
you have any MFA things to bring to world building before we move on?
Well, you mentioned that this might be a world building thing.
Yeah.
But we spoke last week. Was it last week
Yeah,
already?
who
Maybe
knows?
last week and a half
It all
about
runs
David
together.
Mitchell and why his novel Cloud Atlas might be difficult to get into. What do you call it? The trampoline. You get in and it bounces you back out
Yeah.
because the words. And his diction, everything about that is, it's very dense and very
Right.
thick, and it's a little off-putting. I love that kind of work because on the meta level, whereas the author getting involved to make you feel a certain way when you're reading. I mentioned in that video how one of my teachers, the great Gretchen Mazer, told me that The Heart of Darkness is the same way and why I was having such a problem with it.
Right. That was a trampoline for you.
It
You
was
could not get through
over
it.
and over and over.
Yeah.
And
she would not let you move off of it. Yeah.
you are going to hit that until you break through. Was that she said, you are a snake in the jungle and you're going to relax and let the words work.
Yeah.
And build the atmosphere for you. That's what he's doing here. Except it's not off-putting at first. It's not a trampoline. It's
Yeah, no, it's easy to get in. The prose style is easy to get in.
because
Yeah.
it's scientific and cold.
Right.
At the very beginning, it's facts, until the biologist, who is the main character herself, starts to change. The play starts to change her writing starts to change.
Right.
I love that.
And then the
love
words
that.
become part of the setting
the
because they
experience.
cause in on you and they
Yes.
give you that claustrophobic.
Like, at first, you got the coldness of like she's writing a report, she's writing her journal. She's just like, this is the area X. That's what it's called, area X, and the Southern Reach, and this is how we trained to go in, and this is what we had to do to cross over the boundary, and this is what we're here for, and this is what we found. And as soon as they hit that first thing that said, that's not on a map.
Right.
What's that?
Right.
And we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. So that thing that they hit, that's that unexpected thing, as soon as that starts to happen,
The prose changes.
Her text starts to change, and it's
Yeah.
not all of a sudden. It's like, here we're getting some questions that weren't there before, questioning herself, questioning the environment. Some adjectives are thrown in there.
Right.
Some guesses, God forbid, from a
Right,
scientist.
right.
And she's starting to shift, and I love that, as I said before, how a writer puts that kind of dedication into their work to show, I don't only want to tell you the story, I want you to feel in every way possible.
Right. It's
how that-
wordsmithing
yeah.
at every level.
Right.
Every level. I'm
Right.
going to make you feel something just by the words I choose and how I put them together.
Right.
Not only what they describe, but yeah.
And it's so different. I mean, that's something that the book medium can do, or oral storytelling it can do, because that, movies or books. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
movies or even television, Netflix, whatever they can't.
They can't do it because
can't do that.
it's visual.
so
it just shows you. You just see it.
It's
Yeah.
spoon-fed. It's spoon-fed.
Yeah.
So as far as like how this medium works, it's one of my favorite things when an author can take care and do that.
It's poetry. It's kind of getting close to the poetry level. I would think with word choice and wordsmithing on.
Yes, I mean, as far as like care.
Yeah. So we've been all over the place. That should go in prose and everything. But let's just go on down the list of plot. And we've been there quite a bit. So let's hit plot. So what did you think? I thought plot-wise, it's kind of got a thin veneer, a nice shellacking of plot that is just kind of laid over
character.
Character, yeah. It's not. I would not call this plot driven at all. It's a mystery, and that she's trying to figure out what is going on in this environment and what's happening to her from being in this environment, and what's happened to the history of the other teams that have been sent in.
That and what's happened to her that brought her there. That's also a mystery.
Right.
Plenty of mystery.
Plenty of mystery, but
an easy read.
yeah,
Yet
very easy.
the plot is.
I would say the plot's very secondary. It's very.
It is, isn't it?
It's enough there, but it's not why you keep reading. I don't keep reading to see what happens next in the plot.
Correct.
That was my experience.
I think you keep reading more for the mysteries of
What's going to happen to her the longer she stays.
Why she's there, why they're there. Is she's going to run into something that's going to, really put a hiccup? And what the heck is this thing?
What the heck is this thing?
They found.
Yeah.
That's right off the bat not on the map.
Yeah. Well, I guess
what's that?
that's part of the plot.
I
That is
think
part of the plot.
That's a quick reveal, and I think
It's a quick reveal. Like the company Southern Reach sends them in. They cross the border to get in, which is not an easy crossing, right?
Correct.
They get in, and it's like they have a base camp set up, and that base camp is
well,
conveniently set up to something that's not on the map.
Some of them.
That they you kind of get the feeling that they want the team to find that because the base camp's right there.
But it's not on the map. So
But it's not on the
been
map.
mentioned before.
So
and
maybe,
why wouldn't
maybe
they
there's
mention
more
that?
plot going on than I gave it credit for.
Maybe so, but it does feel secondary, and it does feel easily accessed.
To me, this just goes to show the craftsmanship of Jeff Vandermeer, because it just washes over. You don't even catch it at work, and yet there actually is quite a bit going on. Yeah. So I don't want to go too. I don't do spoilers, but they find this thing.
No, I think you could say what they find because
You think so?
it's very early that it's revealed.
It's very okay.
I think it's like in the first. It's in the first chapter.
It's probably in the first chapter.
It is in the first chapter. Yes.
So they find they on the map
You
is a
describe
light.
it.
On the map is a lighthouse.
A lighthouse.
So tower of sorts towards the ocean, where a lighthouse would be.
Right.
Close to the base camp, between
Inland.
them and the lighthouse, where they all kind of head and go. Right. So they find. It would appear to be like just a stone bunker
It's a stone-
that has an
it's a-
entranceway, and then it just a chasm that goes down,
No,
down, down,
it's
down,
a
down.
staircase.
Yeah, like a staircase.
spiral.
But it has landings. It stops and spreads
Yeah, so
out.
it's like a
and then-
spiral staircase, and it has a landing.
Right.
Spiral staircase and a landing.
and that's on no map. No history of it being built. They have no
Yes,
idea
no
what's
idea.
going on with that.
No previous expeditions have
Has
mentioned it.
mentioned
which
it.
they do have. The previous expeditions have gone wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do say that.
It was almost just like they go out and they don't come back.
Right.
Except one.
Or they
group.
come back a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, one group did,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to get into that. But you get the feeling that like they don't. It is a one-way ticket.
Yeah. It has been in the past.
So what is okay? Well, that's good. I'm going to punt that to character.
So
what we're looking at here with this thing, because I do want to talk about this.
Right,
As
okay.
far as like I feel like I might be leaning out of frame.
No, you're good.
So we've got this. What I imagined was a base like a well, like you would find a well.
Sure, I
with
can see
with
that.
like a circular stone base.
Mm-hmm.
Made of natural materials, so nobody backed a cement truck up into
Right.
Area X, nor was it from before.
Right.
As it looked. How did they say? Was it recent? Was it not? Why did they judge that it wasn't from before?
It looks like it's a huge undertaking, and the little
Right.
village there, I don't think would have created this
Right. So
massive
so here we
structure
are.
that tunnels
Right.
down.
There's an opening and egress, and then like we said, the staircase that goes down. She, our hero, the biologist, remarks right away that it's a tower.
Right.
Now, how the hell do you get that when you look at something wellish with a circular staircase that's going down? He says, and she even says, "I don't know why I called it a tower. I don't know why."
But she won't let go of it.
But she will not let
for
go
the
of it.
whole book,
Now,
no matter what
others-
anyone else calls it.
Others
Yeah.
will say, like the leader steps forward and says, "We should investigate the tunnel," and she just gets irritated.
Yeah.
It isn't a tunnel; it's a tower.
Yeah.
And then she, another one will come forward and say something about the tunnel, and she'll get irritated again. And then another one will say something about the tower, and she'll have like an internal triumph. There's like, now they're calling it a tower.
Right.
And it's just like she really wants it to be called a tower, which is odd because she's so cold before that and so
Right.
factual that she would. And I think she even remarks to herself, like, I don't know why I'm insisting on this. It's not a tower, except that. When you look at a lighthouse, it's like that is like a lighthouse that's been inverted.
Yeah, that's exactly,
That's probably where she's just insisting on it.
Right, and
It is
you have the lighthouse there
it's
to compare it to.
Yeah, it's the inverse.
It's just inverted, sure.
Which brings me to an exciting point.
Okay,
Of
hit
how,
me.
Yes, how he's overlaying philosophy on his world, which is like the yin and the yang, the duality. So it's like you had a lighthouse in the distance, and you have a similar structure inverted. We're going to talk about character in a minute, but most expeditions have been mostly male.
Historically, looking back now.
This one is all female.
Right.
Right off the bat, our intrepid hero, the biologist, says there was no rhyme or reason to it. That was just the way it was selected. Author-wise, no.
Yeah, no, absolutely no way.
What I love about this and what it's working with are, definitely like the concept of yin, as opposed to the yin and the yang, the Taoist, the light and the shadow, of what we are working on as far as like an earth. Like, we're not going to outer space, we're here on Earth.
Right.
We are in the ground for some of this. We are, we are taking a look inside. This is all female with some female concerns. And, I love a feminist read, but,
yeah.
There's not a man in this book that appears, but there are some men they're concerned about. And if you've seen the movie, you'll know. The movie's not, if you've seen the movie, it is not in any way like this.
It's very different. I have seen the movie, yes.
Not in any way, but it is.
Some of it's there, but it's very different.
Aside from the premise, it's incredibly different.
Right.
So if you've seen the movie, give this a try.
Read the book. Yeah,
Definitely
I would
give
say
this a
read the
try.
book.
It's like the same world, but a completely different concern.
Right.
So when you take a concept like that and say, like, I would like to, write something like this, and I'm going to mash some of this on there. It seems so, it's so concerted that just like I'm going to use this to guide me in what I really want to say, which is like you and I talked before about how this might be about climate change, but I think it's about something bigger.
Even
You
I think it has a lot of layers. Yeah.
So we'll get to that in a minute. But as far as world building goes, to take, and as I keep saying this, as a writer, but like that's how I read.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking at how how this is put together, I think, wow, to take a philosophy like that and say I'm going to use this as my lens and how I'm going to look at this particular expedition.
Yeah.
I was really pleased.
What I will say is
yes.
how you love that. You know how I love some Lovecraft.
Oh yeah.
So this took me right back to one of my favorite Lovecraft stories called The Outsider, which is somebody that starts, like, it's kind of got a high fantasy feel, and it's someone that starts like an aristocrat that's suffering ennui in his world, and he sits at the foot of the tower and looks up, and one day he decides to climb this dilapidated tower to see what's at the top. And he climbs this dilapidated, and he realizes his whole world in the tower was underground. And what he was ascending was to when he got to the top of the tower, he looked down and the ground was just 3 or 4 feet under him. And how can that be? I've climbed an enormous tower. So it's like, to me, it harkened right back to that in that Lovecraftian way.
It is very much a nod. I didn't know about that story.
Absolutely.
I also Lovecraftian, and I don't think this is a spoiler because it's also in the first chapter. We got fungi.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of fungi. There's a lot of Lovecraft going on here for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nods, and that vibe definitely, and maybe plot's the time to bring this up. Definitely of you've got a cataclysm coming your way that is not concerned with your well-being. It's above and beyond your understanding, and it's inexorably moving towards you and down on you, and you can't stop it, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to slow it, and it's rolling in. So it definitely has that vibe of unrelenting unease and fear coming at you.
Isn't it funny how different eras, decades almost, are concerned with different types of monsters?
Right.
Like remember like the 80s when there was the interview the vampire was totally in, and Lost Boys, and we were just like really hyper fixated on vampires because of that. Monster wise now, it seems we're very much into the Lovecraft territory, like you said, of the monsters who care not for
you're not a target, you're not a victim. It's not, you're just in the way.
You're part of the game board. We just don't care.
We just don't care. The people that are moving the pieces
don't
just
want anything from you. They don't want your brains. They don't want your blood.
You're just collateral damage.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of what this transitionary area felt like to me. Like it's just rolling in. It doesn't matter whatever it's changing to fit the new matrix. It's not malevolent. It's just is. Which seems to be some of the existential things that we're dealing with now. So it's a representation of that. Yeah. Anything else for plot? Let's go to character.
Okay.
Go ahead. I love that there's no character names.
What does that do?
I thought it was awesome. It gave me that.
Awesome is not a good enough.
It gave me that feeling of 6 characters in search of an exit.
Author.
So Twilight Zone. It would be exit. You're talking to a giant nerd here. So.
Sorry. I thought I was talking to the theater person.
To you, be author, but I go straight to the zone. So, it gave me that feel.
Which is to say what?
Which is to say, other than our lead person, the biologist here, right? We're not giving any importance or any backstory or any time to
not at first
to anyone's. The rest of this team, I learned nothing about them other than their function, right? Now the biologist, we get some backstory and why she maybe is weathering changes in a different manner or things like that in a character fashion. But the rest of them, they're really just a functionary.
And how interesting, because like Star Trek, for example, everybody's job. Scotty's the engineer, and
by the color of the shirt they wear.
Sure.
Yeah.
So functionary is a part of that as well, but they have names, they have characters. I would think part of that is that, and she says this right away, this is not a spoiler, a lot of them don't make it very far.
Right.
So I think it was like, don't get too attached to
Right.
these people, because they're not going very far, which is an interesting thing to say.
Sure.
It's in a book where there's supposed to be a lot of mystery.
Right.
She's like, she actually says, I'm not even going to talk about this person because she doesn't make it but a couple of days. So
Yeah.
I was like, why would you do that?
Right, and it gives you a little bit of to go into this place. It seems like the Southern Reach that are sending teams in. They set them up to almost strip their humanity away before they send them in. They've been dehumanized quite a bit before they enter.
Yeah, you are your function only.
Absolutely, and they feel like that's the best way for them to succeed.
Which is interesting because they
don't.
By the time the 12th expedition,
Right,
you think there would be like a
maybe we'll try something
change to
different.
that,
Yeah, but no.
unless they don't
Yeah.
want them to succeed.
That's
the part of the nefarious nature of it.
Yeah.
That you have to start questioning, like, do you really want us to come back? Also just like this like function of it, like you have no opportunity for, let's say, like a name. Would, like, your name John and my name Amy would be a traditional name for someone of a male and a female biologically, that you would say, but and the exception being names like like Robin or Pat, or like where there are some gender non-specific names. You don't have any chance to even assign gender.
No.
Or culture.
No.
Or
background, age.
Because
there's absolutely
if somebody's
nothing.
name is Doris, you will know probably they're
they're female.
But they're like probably born in the 40s. That's it.
I guess so. Sure, you could
it's
do.
Like you get nothing.
You get nothing, except for the biologist. You get a little bit.
Yeah, but not her name. Never.
No, you never do. But you do get some background and some history. And
exactly. So I just thought that was an interesting choice.
And I liked it. I think in other reads, I would be frustrated by it. Because I would want to know more.
I was never frustrated by it.
I wasn't in this at all.
I think because he's throwing so many current mysteries out that it didn't bother me.
I had plenty to chew on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, character-wise, what would you think? I mean, let's just look at the biologist. That's the only one that has any more dimensions than a function.
You have to take a look at, like, this woman who has gone in a certain way and then come out a certain way. Like, did she
a true
change?
arc?
Like,
The definite, yeah.
That's a true arc. I mean, she has changed.
In
Yes.
innumerable ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and she is a biologist with the specialty of transitional spaces.
Right.
So, like, that should be your first clue right there.
Yeah.
That she's going to be transitioning herself.
Right.
And, what that looks like in the text and what it looks like for her character, none of mirrors.
So her chance of understanding this area that seems to be acceleratedly transitioning or evolving should be a little better, you would think.
Right. That there's that kind of sense of, like, wow, there's been 11 expeditions before her that have failed. It's like a transitional biologist.
That's very specific.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
Maybe that was what you should have sent to begin with. Like
maybe by like
she's
the first
got a
3.
Shot.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And interestingly, well, I don't want to go no spoilers, so I'm not going to say that. But I mean, not a lot of cover to characters because you just have that one.
Really, yeah, because like truly. Everyone else kind of gets off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The antagonist would be the psychologist, who would be the leader. And
the antagonist for me is the area itself.
Yes.
I didn't find another
many antagonists. There are antagonists.
I didn't find
Southern Reach is an antagonist.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't find any of the other team members to be that much of an antagonist.
Right. It wasn't an equal match.
No, because they're all trying to deal with the foe of the area.
She's a problem.
Yeah, she's a problem. She's not dealing with this area well.
And
she's a problem.
She's throwing up some roadblocks.
Yeah,
she's not helping things.
No, she's not helping things for our biologists who are kind of rooting for.
And she's a bit of an extension of the company. She's company girl.
Yep.
So
I think
you're getting a
she's like team leader, so she would have to be.
Yeah, she knows a bit more than she's been telling, and that comes off right away.
Yeah.
Chapter 1, she was like, oh, she knows more than she's saying.
Right.
And it's not to their benefit either.
So let's go to Pace, which in 190-something pages,
it goes fast.
It's pretty quick,
and
right?
We said 600 pages deep, but it's not like it's a slow read.
It's not a slow read.
You can read it in a weekend.
Yeah, I read it.
But I would say that you're probably, like, the other book that we covered in the Mrs. Book Club.
Yeah.
Jacob's going to hate me for saying that.
But you're all,
Mrs. Book Club,
City of Thieves.
Is City of Thieves. Now, that felt like a fast read.
That felt like a fast, that's way more plot pushing on it.
But because it doesn't feel like a fast read, but it still is.
Yeah.
I read it in a weekend as well.
Yeah.
I think you read it in 2 sittings.
Yeah.
But you're a fast reader.
Well, I read it in 2 days. It wasn't 2 sittings, but I try and do 100 pages a day, so it's...
Yes, but that's not normal.
So a couple days. Mm-hmm. I found the mysteries were the thing. The mysteries called me back to the book. Mm-hmm. So if I put the book down, I was ready to go back to it because of the mystery. Not necessarily, well, and as we said, there's more plot than you initially think, but the mysteries are what brought me back. It's like, okay, what is going on? What is going to happen? How are these characters going to transition or not transition? How will they be steamrolled by this non-malevolent force of change just coming at them that they have no control over? It was just enough mysteries to make me want to go back.
Even to think, I have another Eastern philosophy thought about the goddess Kali, Hindu, as a manifestation of terrible nature. And someone once explained it to me as, you think of a hurricane as terrible, but not evil.
It is
just
what
doing
it is.
Its thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm just making that connection. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally.
Yes.
I can totally attribute that.
Right.
So I would say pace is quick. Like if you want a quick read, this will not.
Right.
There's a lot going on, but it's not going to gum you up.
Correct.
It'll be a quick read. Last one of the 5 is Prose. What did you think of Jeff Vandermeer's stylings?
Jeff Vandermeer, the stylings of Jeff Vandermeer. Well,
which we kind of covered a little bit.
We did.
Yeah.
I felt like I already led that. I think he's easy to read.
Yes.
He's no trampoline.
No.
I think if you are not a fan of the first part of the first chapter where she's very cold and laying out the facts of and basically the rules of the world, I would say hang on.
Yeah, it doesn't last long.
Yeah, that the questions and the adjectives and the WTF is coming. So, and I think it's very careful, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, very intentional. Everything he does, I think, is absolutely for a reason.
Yeah.
I would say I was very impressed with the prose. It doesn't. There's poetry to it. Because I do think the word choice and the sentence structure illustrates the world in a way that pushes in on you. So I felt that was very intentional.
Yeah, but be careful because I think that could sometimes imply stuffy.
But it's not. That's what I was just going to say.
Right.
He does that, and at the same time, it makes it easy to read. It makes it a page-turner quality of reading that's not slowing you down. Even though he's using his prose to do these things, and he's introducing a lot of high concepts, and he's spinning in a lot of different mysteries at the time, and a world which is vastly unfamiliar even though it's ours. He's doing all this, and at the same time, all these things are brought to you in an easy-to-digest fashion. It's quite a high-wire act that he pulls off.
Absolutely. And yes.
Doing all these things at once. Hat tip to Jeff Vandermeer. Vandelay Industries. Vandermeer Industries. How many cuts can we do?
Yeah.
That I had never read before.
What, you haven't read?
I had never read Jeff Vandermeer before.
Not either.
And I think I was about 20, 30 pages left to this. I ordered book 2 because it's like I will be reading more Jeff Vandermeer.
And you mentioned this recently in another video. He has a prequel to this coming out.
I've heard it's a prequel. I've heard it's a sequel. I'm not sure. I know there's a fourth book. I don't know where it takes place in the timeline.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, but it's coming out soon.
October.
That is soon.
That is very soon.
Yeah.
Unless I didn't see the year right, but it did say October.
And I've heard some other people talk about some of his other books, and they sound very interesting
He's
as
very
well.
prolific.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to get to know him.
Yeah.
Through some
So
of
I'm kind of excited
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the potential. So what would you say?
He's a Florida person, which is
Really?
well, yes, because that's
There's I could see that. There's
right.
Yeah.
I mean the environment, the landscape. He said he got the idea for this book while hiking in one of those reserves.
Oh.
So that's where he was thinking, just like, what an alien place.
And so true.
Say.
So true. And I told you it reminds me of our backyard, because this time of year, if we're not out there hacking it back weekly, it would overtake the house like.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of
And
that?
evil? No, it's not
Yeah,
evil. It's
it's
just doing what it does.
And there's that sense too of like, we're the outsiders here.
We're the ones pushing it back.
There, that. I don't know, it astounds me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Our relationship to nature is so weird, and he really does touch on that, and really just like presses that button in me, just like you're the weird one.
Yeah, you're the one not rolling with the world, and he brings that to such the forefront for sure. Yeah. So we didn't really do stars as we went along, because it's not a review; it's a book club with the missus. So I just want to end up by going. Would you recommend it? What kind of reader would you recommend it to?
Well, I did recommend it to you.
Yeah.
I recommended it to Jacob because he doesn't
Jacob
read
would like it.
a lot and doesn't have time to read a lot, and it's a quick read.
It is. And he likes it when language does,
I wouldn't recommend it to my dad. He likes his reads. Happy birthday, Dad.
Yo, happy birthday, Dad. He likes something a little more concrete.
A lot more concrete.
He wants a story.
He's going to love City of Thieves.
He's going to love City of Thieves.
When Jacob got him for Father's Day.
Right.
So
he will love that.
Right.
So I'm with you. If you like a concrete, I like my stories to move the way a story should move. And
wouldn't recommend it to
wouldn't
my
recommend
mother.
it. Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Would recommend it to my brothers who like a sci-fi and like a little weird. And that's where I would say, if you are liking a concrete world and City of Thieves is your parking lot.
Yeah.
This one is a step in another direction.
Right. If you want that direction, here's to you. Or if you, I would recommend it to. I wouldn't recommend it to any reader. That's for sure. I would recommend it to a genre reader of a certain type. Do you like a little bit of a more of experimental? Do you like a little bit more thought-provoking?
I would think almost any genre reader would like this book.
I mean, probably the odds are very high.
Safe.
Yeah, the odds are high. I think so. If you like horror, there's enough there. If you like sci-fi, there's enough there. If you like mystery, there's enough there.
Fantasy? Yeah, no.
That's
not enough. If you like
most people that really like fantasy though like their palate cleansers. They like. I would like a flavor that's a little bit off the beaten path of what I do in these big epic chunker books.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely recommend this for that.
No realism here.
No, it's
except where it does feel like in that heart of the uncanny. Like I recognize that. Should I recognize that? I don't want to recognize that.
It's an expressionistic read, isn't it? I felt that.
Yeah.
If it were visual, it would be that.
You know what though? I want to go back to the movie. I liked the movie.
I did too. I just thought it was very different.
Why I did? Because it was kind of a hot mess. But there were some parts about it that really freaking haunted me. I mean, there were two scenes that I had to pause and say, I'm gonna have to take a break, because not that it was gory, it just hit the uncanny.
It hit the uncanny
so well.
Yeah.
And those moments were not in the book.
Right.
That I just went, good job.
But oddly enough, those moments I feel capture the spirit of the book.
See, when you say expressionist, I think
Yeah.
that it's a great opportunity to view a book like this, to say, how do you make a movie of a book like this? Do you
Yeah.
make it concrete and literal, or do you
express yourself
run with
and
it?
you run with it and do your own thing? I think
Here's
that's
Area X. Here are the characters, and they're nameless, and they're this, and then
And I think
things are growing, and they're weird, and go.
I know people love their adaptations. They love the book. They want to see the book. But for me, it felt like an expressionistic read. So the only way that you could springboard off of the art is to find your own vision, express yourself in that place. So I liked the movie as well.
Yeah,
I do think it's different, but I liked it.
Yeah, and then oddly faithful.
Yeah, faithful to the spirit for sure.
Yeah.
For the spirit, yeah. Well, I think
Another Mrs. Book Club.
another book club with the missus has come and gone.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming upstairs. Thank
It's
all
my
of you.
pleasure. I can't believe that people want to hear me talk. This is weird.
I love to hear you talk.
I know, but it's just weird.
I would sign up for another 30 years. Thanks all of you for hanging out with us. Hit us up in comments. Have you read this book? Are you maybe going to read this book? What do you think? What were your thoughts about it? I love comments. I answer them right away because the whole reason for this channel existing is to talk to people that love books like we do and love the kind of books we do.
I love you.
I love you too. And while you're down there, hey, hit that thumbs up button. Helps us find new people, helps the channel grow, helps
It
everything
does.
we do here. And if this is your first time, maybe you're just a big fan of this book and you have not been here before, and you want to follow more of these shenanigans, what we get up to reading, hit that subscribe button. It's so easy. It takes no time. Boop, it's done, that easy, and it feels good. It gives you, right? That's catching on. Even she said it. Gives you a tingle. It gives you a tingle when you subscribe and find a new group to hang out with. Thanks so much for joining us, baby. Thank you for coming up again. Love you. We will see you again. My name is John. This is...
What's my name this time?
Yeah, that's all on you.
Ahab.
You're sticking with it. She's sticking with it.
I've been reading this.
You can call me Ishmael, and this has been Talking Story.